Welcome to Build an Agency. On this podcast, we talk about building businesses with proven digital marketing tactics. Join us as we help CMOs, business leaders, and future marketers grow their organizations and reach their goals. Let's jump right in. Welcome back to the podcast. We're on episode 22, and I am not in the studio with Attilio.
But we're still all together. We actually are starting our new, sequence interface. It's not an interface, a new style.
What we've been saying the past few weeks is that we're going to get a Skype call recorder. Thanks Ecom or eCall or whatever they're called. I forgot who makes it, but they make a fantastic call recorder that you can record video and audio and everything on. And so we can just bring all of our our podcast guests on for Skype. We can record remotely or whatever we need to do. So Attilio and I are in two separate locations, and we also brought on our dude Ryan Sobbe. He's our head SEO here at Hone. He's a beast, super knowledgeable guy. He really
total operations. Honestly, he's a hoss.
Oh, he's incredible.
Thanks, man. Hey guys,
how you doing?
How are
dude?
you?
I'm doing good, man.
Awesome.
Everything
doing
good?
awesome.
So we kind of have a pretty stacked episode. I think you guys have met Ryan before. If you look back, I think it was literally episode 1 or 2.
So I think it was episode 2, and we had him on the podcast. I can't remember what
or 0 maybe. Was it 2?
It wasn't 0.
2 or 0.
Was it episode?
One of those early ones. We're figuring everything out.
But yeah, we had this really convoluted process of recording Ryan, and it was the biggest nightmare edit of my life. So I'm really excited to have this kind of software so we can do this. So kind of be on the lookout for this in the future. We're going to kind of change our format up and just make this podcast better and better. We're going to try and bring on influencers, business owners from different industries, and just talk through things. We want to run through discovery meetings and talk through as if you were in the room with us having a discovery meeting with the client for the first time, learning about their business, their goals, etc. We want to do that live on the air. Anyways, lots of good things to come.
Sweet. Well, let's jump into this topic. I think.
So today
we're really talking SEO heavy, right?
Yeah. Travis? So today is big time on SEO, the Google algorithm, what all that entails, that whole circus, and all that. Just to clear some more misconceptions up about SEO and whatnot. I can't think of a better person to help us clear that up than Mr. Ryan Sobbe. So
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, dude. Of course. So first, one of the biggest misconceptions we run into are people really think that SEO is it's a one-time service, it's one and done. So you pay your SEO company or your agency, they fix your meta descriptions, your header tags, and get the right the keywords you want on your page, and then you're optimized. Set it and forget it. You're good to go. Why is this a misconception? Why is this a problem? Why does SEO need to be a continual process versus a one-time service?
I would say because Google's updates are also a continual process. Okay. The weather, we were just talking about this, Attilio and you, that there's Mozcast out there and weather software to kind of track updates behind the scenes and what's going on with the Google search results.
Yeah.
And you've got a split test. You don't get the data you need after making these meta updates and these different SEO updates right away. Take a month to 2 months to even be able to begin a nice split test campaign. And different words used, say in a search title.
Yeah,
the weighting of those can change too based on what Google deems important words within that industry. And so a lot of different factors, but it's ongoing maintenance. I mean, you really need ongoing maintenance for SEO. You can do a one-time, but then your competitors are going to win through ongoing maintenance,
Yeah.
It's just the
search
way
engine
optimization.
not search engine optimize.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like people who do it also are just kind of copywriters. I feel like it's becoming more of a copywriter sport rather than like a science. And it should be like a science actually. Considering like if your competition's doing it and you only did it once and your competition did it twice, then it's like, so now, like, are you going to do it twice? Like, is this going to be a 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, or are you just going to do a continual, like, updates? Competition's doing it, like,
it's a
process. It's an optimization.
It's like a sport, an art, and a science in one.
Oh, dang.
If you think about it, and insurance, and it's like insurance because it's like a preventative measure to. I mean, it's not too much money for how much you can generate in a year's time, only paying, sub 1,000 a month even, or depending on how much you generate per lead and everything. But it's like sport in terms of like determination, and then art in terms of how do we attack these topics on a website and capture leads and ranking visibility, and then art and kind of a science mixed and how to do how to structure the website and the content. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And, even certain agencies out there aren't hitting everything they should be within a campaign, but that's why there's different levels of it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think the Google algorithm is like kind of the obvious explanation with it constantly changing. I noticed you mentioned competition, and that's something that I don't think a lot of clients think about is their competitors are utilizing SEO tactics. What are some things that you guys do as SEOs to kind of read what the competition is doing and adapt?
Tools. Search engine rankings, probably. Yeah, we spend a ton of money, monthly, yearly, just on tools.
Okay.
And so that's really how you do it, and
for sure.
Just keeping a close eye on everyone, that's how you stick ahead of the competition. And if you want to be ranked in search engines, you better believe your competition wants to be ranked.
Sure.
So it's something you have to think of.
And it's like, and those tools help us with how often we can see new trends and how those trends are interrelating. How active all of our competitors are, if they're more active socially versus like website content or building backlinks, and where those, or building, visibility on a third-party websites and how they're going that route. We can see all of that and kind of put it together, aggregate it, and see the stronger paths in the industries. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, we can figure out the best route, for our clients, which is cool because we've got this experience between all of us between like doing the social, we're not just SEO, we're like the whole suite. So, and we got the tools for the whole suite, which is it's pretty.
We're the whole enchilada.
We just have everything here. Yeah,
for sure.
So what's really awesome though, and just backtracking a second, is that literally all of your competition stuff is available for us. Like we can literally see everything. So, and what that also means is that other people can see everything. So that's why it's really important to be like this is an art, right? At a certain level, it's an art. It's a science at a certain level. You have to be creative. You have to figure out how to win.
Yeah.
Right.
So not only do you need to be mindful of watching your competition, but you also have to kind of live with that tension that your competition is probably watching you.
Yeah, it's very possible.
So they most likely they're working with, hopefully, or maybe I guess not hopefully, an experienced SEO team that knows how to use all these tools and metrics. So you might not be watching your competition, and they might be watching you. That's crazy. But gotcha. So kind of back to Google and their algorithm. So in what ways does Google change their algorithm, Ryan? Like what actually changes when they do that? Is there a pattern, or what are they?
So I mean, I'm sure we'll bounce between. Matilio could help out with this too. I'm sure with some of these updates and the information you might have read, but so it's kind of a mix between, most of the updates are private. We haven't gotten public updates in a while. it's kind of the big influencers in the industry, like local search industry, that notice a lot of these trends, or they have insider information and they reveal some information and kind of dub it a name on what's going on. It's kind of different with search engine trends and rankings and competition. But, it started with like just removing spam in general. Google had some updates for like Google Panda for thin content, to prevent thin content from getting up in the first page of results. Then there was like Penguin for link spam, and people were building a bunch of spammy websites and using kind of like, well, black hat strategies that are now would now penalize your website and prevent you from ranking. So, and then after that, there was a few more updates in terms of like semantics and how Google can read the meaning of words, and in relation to local search factors as well, like proximity and how close your business is to a user searching on their phone or even computer now with location. Can't remember every name, but I kind of it's now there. And then there's also Rank Brain, which is another kind of update to their whole system now, where a big majority of their system, I can't remember the numbers, but is just run through computer algorithms now versus like manual Google employees actually like looking and sifting through and adjusting search results for quality. So
Rank Brain is actually really important.
A lot of AI going into it. Yeah.
Rank Brain is how Google sort of determines like new queries too, right? So it's like something that no one's ever searched before, or something that maybe one or two people have ever searched. If you search for it, how does Google determine what's displayed?
Okay.
And then so it kind of is like the automatic quality control and the automatic like display, right?
Right.
It's kind of interesting. And obviously, like a long time ago, back when Google first was starting, they had like pirate and payday updates that were like for copyright infringing websites. They don't display those anymore. And in fact, if you search like watch blank movie online, if you scroll to the very bottom of the page, it'll tell you that there's like results that haven't been displayed because of copyright issues. Or the payday update, which is like it's to remove like super spammy sites that were like sort of against like policies that Google didn't want to like kind of stand behind. They call it payday because
copyright,
like payday loans, but really it's like for pornographic websites or like things that Google doesn't want to display easily. I mean, if you're doing like the whole pornographic thing, I mean, it's difficult for you to like do SEO for it because it's something that Google doesn't want to display traditionally. So they have kind of those things. And then, Ryan mentioned some of the big ones: Pigeon, Penguin, Panda, Hummingbird.
I mean, yeah. So for someone starting out in SEO or trying to learn it at an agency, I would say just to not worry about these as much and just know that
Penguin
Google
and Panda
is just looking for quality and quantity. I mean, you can't really escape quantity. You have to put in effort. You have to one or two up even your competitors with quality content and linking and just kind of getting yourself syndicated and promoted out there. And that's really all you can do, in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At the end of the day, they want quality results, right? They want what's intent based. They want what's,
Yeah.
So
for sure. So Google doesn't release their update information, right? Or do they tell you what's
speculated on?
They did with like Pigeon and Penguin and Panda, I believe. I think those were confirmed as like by actual Google representatives. But yeah, some of these like this, there's like a newer one, the Hawk update, which was dubbed by a woman, Joy Hawkins, who's pretty well known, a big influencer in the local search. She's like a columnist on Search Engine Land, so she's big in the industry, and she noticed some local filter updates. So Google's kind of messing with the fine tuning the local search results in the local pack based on like how close or far a user is to that business. So, I mean, I'm sure that's always been under kind of being tuned constantly behind the scenes, but now there's just kind of been a bigger shift, a big trend notice, and then people dub those big spikes as something, you know.
Gotcha. So
these big changes, so like this small update, which hasn't been publicly made, right? This Hawk update, it's changing people's positions by like 1 or 2, even like 6. Sometimes they're removing people entirely from the listings.
Yeah.
And it's all it's all in the name of getting more quality results, right?
Yeah.
But that could adversely affect your website. So like someone else's website, if you drop from position 1 to position 3 or position 2, position 6, that could be like 60 to 100% of traffic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
It's like, that's a big source. That's a big potential hit. If you're coming up all the time for like results like Pizza Chicago or something, like Chicago Pizza or like Pizza Near Me, and all of a sudden you're dropped from there, like that's a lot of people that you could be missing out on.
Yeah.
So it's something like, it seems small. It's like this privately made algorithm update. It's not necessarily publicly stated, but it could, you know, hit pretty hard for some people.
And that's why it's so, you know, SEO should be a continual preventative process, you know. I mean, and there's even some people seeing kind of beta testing by Google for in that local, you know, your local business listing, keyword mentions. Say you search a query, Google's also checking for that keyword in your website content, in the website link to that Google local, you know, Google My Business page that you have. So, you know, there's going to be more and more correlations, I think, with making sure your queries written in quality content on your site before you can even rank locally in that area. So even, you know, a lot of preventative like theory and stuff, but it's you know, it's important because it could save you a lot of money over time.
Interesting.
Instead of just forgetting about it and having your rankings wiped out or because you weren't keeping up with content and everything. So
gotcha. So since Google like sometimes releases this information, sometimes doesn't. You said there's like big columnists in like the SEO community that kind of like report on like, I guess, tests or experiments or observations, and let the rest of the SEO community find out about these updates. Like
exactly.
Okay, so what do they do?
Kind of observation based. Usually.
Okay, so SEOs
because they have big client pools themselves.
Sure,
you know, like that they kind of get their information from for the most part.
Like for us example, I remember back in this must have been 2 months ago, I think at the end of July. Actually, it must have been August 31st or something when Hawk was said to have started. I think it was August 31st.
Yeah, August 21st.
But we were like, I remember Ryan calling me up and he was like, hey, there's some weird stuff going on right now for our clients. And it was just like, we were just seeing some stuff in our tools, like a bunch of fluctuations, a bunch of crazy stuff going on. And it's just like, it's something you observe when you have like, you know, 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 25,000 websites in front of you. If you start seeing like a bunch of crazy shifts happening, you start connecting dots, you know?
Okay.
And you start seeing like, hey, traffic numbers are changing, authority numbers are changing.
The number of queries becoming local, like asking you where are you located, like that seems to be
interesting.
Huge.
Okay,
right
so you put it together, then there's some websites that help us also sort of. At least it doesn't tell you what's going on, but it tells you when there's like something happening in the background. Okay. And so that's like Mozcast, what Ryan mentioned earlier. And that's MOZCAST, Mozcast.com. And all it does is show you like, hey, there's a lot of fluctuations in the algorithm right now. Like there's stormy weather is what it is.
Okay.
And then as the algorithm sort of calms itself and it starts becoming more regular, the temperature starts becoming more moderate, right?
Okay.
So it's super interesting. I love the idea for it, but so it kind of helps solidify and reconfirm the idea that something's happening, and then you observe and do whatever.
Okay, so you you observe that there are shifts happening across like multiple websites. Most likely, that's probably that's probably when like the red flag goes up. Hey, something's changed, something's wrong, something's different. So what do you guys do to like adjust? Where's the adjust come from? Like, do you guys know exactly what's wrong, or you have an idea what's wrong when you see that? If you don't know what Google has changed.
That's where it's a bit of an art, I think, in a way where, because you can combine this data from the Weathercast, Mozcast with rank tracking, like the keyword trends, the dips up and down. A lot of times you can see a subset of keywords like, oh, these are just, sprinkler related keywords, for example, that are all dipping. So then I'd go into the website and see how that content could be improved further, maybe linked differently. As well as backlinks related to sprinkler websites, if we can improve that. So it's really just hitting that topic harder, to be honest. And even activity signals too, the fact that you're refreshing the signals for those types of keywords in the website and off of the website can also help. So you don't really know for sure, but there's a lot of,
So
strategy to it. Too, if you have like, say 1,000, say you're looking over 1,000 websites and like 200 of them improve in that time period and 800 of them decline.
Yeah.
You can see what's going on in those 200 and see how they are different from the 800. And that could help you get some ideas of
like half of those are one page, then there's an issue with that one page possibly. That one page is ranking for all those keywords. So it's
that's where it becomes a little bit of a science too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So if I was a client and I'm kind of learning about SEO, so I'm trying to understand what I'm paying for or something like that, and I learned that Google's constantly changing its algorithm. They don't release this information. All these things that we're telling them, like we're saying, this is a continual process because Google's changing up their info all the time and they don't release their info. Should that be a red flag to a client? Is it risky for clients to pay SEOs after a Google update since you guys are kind of shooting in the dark? Is that a risky thing? Or is it?
I don't think so. I mean, there's a slight risk in all business and all dealings, I think. But I mean, then you'd be, saying that, okay, now all of their competitors have an SEO and they're falling behind in terms of content and optimization. And are you going to just quit on your SEO team every day because there's nearly an update every day? I mean, and if there's a big news about one, I mean, yeah, maybe if it was like Google decides to say, hey, every slot on the Google results is a paid ad now. Yeah, then you might not, then you might want to convert your budget to like AdWords or a Google AdWords maintenance
instead of organic
plan. But I think you need someone or a combination of efforts for building content, optimizing content, and then like syndicating, promoting it, like no matter what, I think. And
mitigates risk, right?
Yeah. I think
if your hands aren't in just one pool, you kind of can mitigate some risk like that. So
I feel like it'd be riskier not to do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's risky in a way that like if Google changes their algorithm drastically, you're paying your SEOs to like kind of scramble and figure out what's going on that they don't know. But at the same time, like if you're not paying for SEO and you're not paying for something continual, your competition's still doing it, and you're still missing out on a lot of traffic and a lot of So I think it's
exactly.
I think it's risky both ways, but I think there's vastly more risk on I'm going to sit on my hands and not do SEO or not pay for the service.
I mean, SEO as an industry is a $64 billion industry as of last year. That's huge.
Yeah, that's massive.
You better believe everyone is everyone is doing it.
Huge.
I mean, and combine that with the price of like old-fashioned marketing, like a billboard, or like the risk on like previous methods of marketing are so much higher in like shots in the dark than. I mean, it's like you can create a billboard, basically digital billboard, which is a page in 20 minutes, and just build it out for a few hundred a month. Like,
yeah,
it's like a no-brainer. I think.
So in the grand scheme of things, So in the grand scheme of things, like SEO is actually vastly safer than other marketing tactics. like the marketing tactics of the past, right?
Yeah.
So
it's way more targeted, and it's way more apparent that you're getting like actual results because you'll be able to track the results. So for like a billboard, you can't say 5,000 people passed the billboard, 20 of them bought. Like you can't see that unless you're like literally asking, hey, where did you see us first? And billboard's an answer, and then they become a customer. It's like, but then at that point you have to like literally ask like where they got you from, and I mean, which is good practice, I guess, but it's also like a longer process. You can't like track your marketing efforts as well.
Gotcha. For sure.
Plus, it's not targeted. Like a billboard's on the side of a road, right?
Of course, it's like smart to have different channels, but I think SEO is like basically a required channel now with how many people use Google and how often they use Google and Bing and some others. But it's just like, and as it become a more global world, like I'm seeing some articles on like optimizing for Baidu, like the Chinese search engine. Say if you're in international business, and that's even more important to somehow get optimized for more than one.
Yandex, Russia, like some of the other European ones. Like
interesting.
It's just a big It's like a required time investment that should be outsourced somehow, however you do it. As a business, I think.
Plus, what's really interesting is that you can use it as a base for all your other marketing campaign efforts, because you can literally see the trends and the queries that people are like asking for and like what you need to be targeting as a business. So if you feel like you're related or you're relatable to 20,000 queries, that's where you should start that bucket. You can see how often people are looking at those queries or getting into that information that they're like requesting. And then you just provide that information,
And through that information, you learn more about your users too, or people that are interested in your brand or business.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cool stuff.
It goes deep.
For sure. For sure. So what's going on with the Hawk update? Is it a huge update? Is it changing everything? In what way does like the Hawk update affect clients?
More of actually, you can go ahead, Ryan, if you want.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's kind of a minor adjustment now. There's winners and losers. So it's just proximity, like how close you are and when you're searching and if you see a certain business or not on their page. But it seems like they're refining it to make it stricter, so possibly more people can appear more often, more fragmented in a way. It's hard to explain, but I think also if you have multiple, say you're in the same building and you have multiple listings, maybe even the same business.
Yeah.
I think this update has also improved that, where they're only going to show one and probably the one with the most reviews than the other ones. Whereas they used to show like multiple from the same business or location. So I think it's going to make like having a different address more important. If you are, say you have more than one location as one business, it's going to make that more important to have everything segmented differently and uniquely.
Interesting.
With reviews.
Yeah, it seems like it's somehow taking more like search intent information into like the local pack that's being displayed, and the local pack is like when you search for like pizza near me or something.
Okay.
And it shows like the top 3 pizza restaurants near you or something like that. So that's the local pack. It's usually like on a map or something. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like an update to one of the previous updates called Possum. So it's
all the animal names.
Hawks.
It seems like it's possums. A little up in the air. Yeah, Hawks kill possums. Yeah, it seems like it's still a little up in the air. Like people are still trying to understand it entirely, but they do know that it has a lot to do with the local results.
And of course, there could be other stuff. I think there seems like there's other stuff going on with relating a website signals to that local listing as well. So we don't really know for sure, but everything's becoming more interconnected.
Interesting. Gotcha.
Yeah, it looks like they're taking into consideration some other indirect factors as well, like organic search. So someone having a stronger organic search or stronger relevance to a keyword, it's almost like filtering some people out or filtering more people in. So it's not even like entirely review based. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's a little tough to entirely decide what's going on.
Gotcha.
But,
okay.
Especially as with voice search too. Yeah. We'll see how that works out if there's like a voice search update or
So it might be a mash between like Possum and Hummingbird, and then like an update to Hummingbird or something like that to get more conversational. Because I know they're definitely moving towards it as like way more people start using voice search for things. So it's
crazy.
Interesting. We'll probably have something a little more solid in the next couple weeks, I bet. But the algorithms definitely calmed down. So something happened and it's now like settled in its location. So it's now like it's now at a point where it's like, hey, something just happened. Now we can react, right?
Okay.
So,
yeah, for sure. So I know that a big factor in getting a client ranked, that also kind of goes hand in hand with the algorithm or the tactics used by the agency or the SEO team or the SEO or whatever. And Ryan, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you guys explain to me the difference between black hat and white hat SEO?
Do you want to go first, Attilio, or
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. So white hat and black hat SEO. First of all, imagine this as like a slider. It's a scale. It's not like you're one or the other.
Yeah.
So there is like a gray hat, right?
It's like a spectrum.
And that's just like the stuff in between. Yeah. So black hat black hat search engine optimization is deemed black hat when Google no longer, or Google feels that it's gaming their system. So the primary purpose of SEO is to, influence the search rankings to your benefit, right? There's a ton of attention there, so you want to influence it. And when you start doing things that Google doesn't like or doesn't feel is providing good results in the search rankings, it'll start like making patches to not allow that to happen as much. So that's where like something with spammy links, back when having a ton of links to your website made you look super credible. So people were like, oh, well, I'm just going to spam the hell out of my site with links and I'm just going to look super credible and I'm going to rank position 1 every time.
Yeah.
And so of course Google makes their update and doesn't allow that anymore. And so that tactic then becomes black hat, right? Or it'll get you penalties or whatever else. So, and then white hat SEO is the opposite end of the spectrum. White hat is you're doing everything according to the book. You're following the Google Webmaster Guidelines. You're being relevant because you're relevant. So,
yeah, it's like some people may achieve short-term boosts to their rankings or visibility or traffic with some black hat SEO tactics still, but if there's a way eventually, if Google is not yet, they're gonna crawl farther and farther across more and more websites and detect more and more things as
black hat
future unfolds. So it's best to stick to the white hat guidelines. Yeah. Put in extra effort,
Gotcha. So
and then, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. If black hat tactics are being used by SEO teams, is that a sign of inexperience, or
it might be super experience or inexperience?
Yeah, could be whack hat SEO.
Whack hat SEO.
Yeah. So whack hat.
Whack hat
SEO.
Yeah, you guys just coined this term, whack hat SEO. What is whack hat SEO?
The whack hat SEO can it can organically, it can be derived through just inexperience or just lack of resources, or just laziness. It's really, you're paying a high premium price every month for an agency that's only editing your meta titles, for example, or your meta information on your website, or just keyword density changes or just link building, like, maybe just one little subset of SEO when you should be getting a whole SEO campaign, I would call that whack hat SEO.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If you're paying for something that you could be doing, like doing meta updates, it's like all you need is a tool and be like, let me tweak this to a plural or something and like see if the traffic changes. Like that's not what SEO is about. It's not about making those like small changes or untested changes or not using like predictive information to help you like make changes or updates or anything like that. So
like unfortunately a lot of agencies spread themselves too thin nowadays with SEO or just combining other plans and packages or onto one person that might be running a campaign, and it's just it's the time investment required to compete in a lot of industries. It's impossible for some of these agencies that have overscaled and haven't kept up with, they can't keep up with the speed of the industry. It's just, that's why, fortunately I moved from that position because we can be a lot more agile now and pick and choose who we can actually help with our time. And,
instead of building perceived value, we try to build like actual value. Because once you're stretched thin,
right.
You try to find ways to
cheat,
make you, like sell yourself, and then also